Hello, hello, it's Julie Davison from juliedavison.com. Welcome to Thursday Night Stamp Therapy. I'm so glad that you're joining me tonight. I've got 3 fun projects to share with you. If you're not familiar, Thursday Night Stamp Therapy is filmed live on Facebook every Thursday night. The goal is 7:10 p.m. Central Time, but I was running a little late tonight. Claire had another softball game, and it was amazing. Oh my goodness. We played our cross-town rivals for the second time this season. Last time it was a really close loss. This time we smashed them. It was awesome. It was so good. Claire pitched so well, and the Chargers won the game. The final score was 5-11, so it was fabulous. Claire struck out 8 batters, 3 of them in 1 inning. It was really such a fun game. So I'm running a little late because I had to get a bite to eat, but I'm so glad that you are joining me. Now, you might be watching on YouTube. I always post these videos over on YouTube afterwards. So if you're watching on YouTube, it's not live, but I would love for you to leave a comment. Let me know when you're watching, what day it is, what time it is, what you're doing. So what are you guys doing tonight on a Thursday? I need your help, you guys, because I have 3 projects ready to go, but I need your help in deciding which one to start with. So tell me, would you like to see a project with the lovely linen designer paper, or would you like to see a graduation project first? Leave a comment and let me know what you think, and I will get started with one of those two projects. I have a third one as well, and I'm just going to let that one be a surprise. Nancy, oh, I'm so glad you're watching, Nancy. It is going to be a little repeat of what you made this morning at my house, except for the graduation one. Oh, Christine, I'm so glad that I'm not in your pocket today. You must be at home. That's awesome. And who's in from Australia? Hello, Chris. So glad you're joining us. I'm seeing a couple of graduations. Sherry, thanks so much for sharing. Bonnie says, lovely linen. Here's the thing, guys. You're going to get to see them both. So it sounds like maybe we'll start with graduation, but I promise I'll show you a little lovely linen as well. Nancy says graduation as well. Oh, that's so awesome. And Annette is making cards right now. That's so great. I love when you guys are stamping while you're watching, because I just feel like it sort of means like we're stamping together, and it's sort of, I don't know, I just feel that extra little connection. Okay, well, we're going to start with the graduation, so I'm going to put this aside for now, but I promise we'll do the lovely linen next. So as you know, because I've talked about it a bunch of times, my son Thomas is graduating. He's graduating next week, and I'm so excited. Well, last night I went to bed, and I had this idea pop in my head for a card. Does that ever happen to you? And so I'm thinking about this card, and then I was like, I don't want to forget. I don't want to forget this card. And so I was like, don't forget. And then I couldn't go to sleep because I was trying not to forget the card. Well, I resisted the urge to get up and write it down, but I did remember this morning, and this is the card. This is the card that I made, a little cap, a little graduation cap. And so I'm going to open it up and show you, and then I'll show you how to make it. So it is a little explosion card, and here's the inside. Congrats to the graduate. And you might think that that wolf stamp is a little bit random. However, I have to show you, this is the graduation announcement for my nephew Miles, who is also graduating next week. And check it out. Home of the Huskies. So tell me, I know this is a wolf, but do you think it's close enough to look like a husky? I made this card to send to him, and I'm hoping that he gets the comparison there. But you can customize this card however you want. I think it'd be really fun to customize it with the school mascot or the school colors. I'm going to show you how to make this. Let's get out the materials that we need today. Bringing them over here. Okay, so we're going to start with some base pieces for our card. So I have 2 black pieces that are 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 inches. Okay, so you're gonna need 2 of these, 2 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, and then 1 piece that is 8 by 8 inches. I'm sorry I don't have these written on a Post-it, but I will put them in the video description when we're all done. Maybe I'll just write them really quick. I know it's helpful to see it on camera. Okay, so this is 8 by 8 And then we have 2 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. Okay. Like that. All right, so on the 8-inch one, we're going to score it in quarters. So you're going to score it in half, and then you're going to score it in half, and then you're going to score on one diagonal. Okay, so we have in half, and diagonal. I've done that ahead of time. I'm going to get out my bone folder because you really want to make sure you have some good creases on this one. So as we fold this again, I'm just going to make sure we got a good crease with the bone folder. And the really important one, of course, is going to be the diagonal. So I'm going to open that up. Nice crease all the way down. And then what we're going to do, if you haven't made one of these kind of explosion cards before, is we're going to invert those diagonals and kind of fold it up so that it almost looks like a flower. So we're going to invert those so they're on the inside. And then again, just going over our score lines to make sure those are kind of laying flat. Okay. And then when it opens up, whoa, isn't that fun? Oh my gosh. I've done cards like these with designer paper. I wonder if I have one within reach. No, I should have pulled that ahead of time. I made like a whole series. It's so addicting because it's so easy. But you can do a smaller one and then have this be like inside of your card. Like a little 4x4. So when it opens up your card, it's just cool. Okay, anyway, so this whole thing is going to be the explosion card. And then I have some pieces on the inside. Now this is the same pattern that I used over here. And this is actually, let me show you. It's from the All Together designer paper pack. Do you guys remember this one? It came out like in March, I think. And this is the one that had a coordinating bundle and the natural tone blends. It's a black and white 6x6 designer paper. But it's still available. They extended the collection because there was an issue with the Stampin' Blends, and there wasn't an issue with the Stampin' Blends. They just ran out. So they sold out of the Stampin' Blends really quick. And then the rest of the products just kind of fizzled without the Stampin' Blends. So they did extend that. So if you didn't get a chance to get this awesome black and white paper, then you can get that. Let me show you here. Here it is all together. And it's item number 160039. So it's not too late. And this is what I used, this pattern right here. I just thought it was just a nice, classic pattern here. So you can either put it up here with a picture, or the other way I thought you could do it is you could stamp your sentiment and have that be the focal point down here. And then you could either sign up here or just add some other things. You know what I also thought would be really cool is to have a picture. Like you could customize with this with a picture of the graduate. That would be really fun too. So let me grab the stamp set and show you. By the way, that wolf/husky came from the Wildlife Wonders stamp set. And then my congrats to the graduate comes from the Slim Sayings stamp set. And this one's in the January through June mini catalog, and I don't think it carries over. So if you like this stamp set, then you definitely want to make sure that you grab it up as soon as possible, but definitely before June 30th. So we're going to use that congrats to the graduate. And I die cut this ahead of time. This was a little piece of basic white cardstock that I die cut with the Stylish shape dies. Those are the new stitch shapes. There's squares and circles and banners. Oh man, look at that. Do you see that little smudge? That is sad. Let me see if my sand eraser can take care of it. It's kind of big, so I'm not I'm not feeling so confident. Oh, you know what I would do? I would just take it and I would turn it over, but I don't think it's quite the same with the stitching. You know what? I think that did pretty good. And you can always embellish it with something. So we're going to put this on. I'm going to add that to our designer paper, and then add the designer paper to the card. So Thomas, of course, is graduating, and Miles is graduating, but I also need cards for all of Thomas's friends. And so I have quite a few graduation cards to make. So I'll be making several of these. And I just love that they're so easy to make. Okay, so that's the inside of our card. You could also put like another piece of paper up there if you if you wanted to. Again, here's a reminder of how I just did the congrats to the graduate here and put the husky there. So you can have all kinds of fun customizing the inside. So now we're going to glue this. So we have one on the front and one on the back. Again, this is two 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 pieces. Sorry, my 4 looks kind of funny. And we're going to add some adhesive. And I'm actually gonna, this is like the top of the card, but I'm gonna turn it over to lay it down just so I can center that and see where I'm going on that. Christina, there is a saying, when making cards, if they don't like it, they can make it themselves. I think you're right. Oh my goodness. But this card is just so fun and cute that I can't imagine anyone would not like it. So we're going to add this to the other side now. So we have one on one side and one on the other. And then when you open it, you have that explosion. It does look naked. Like, I'm going to have to add another square of designer paper. I think it would be fun to add a picture too, though. So I'll try to customize each card. Okay, so now we've got the front part. And for this, I used some of the black twine. Now, it comes right now in a package like this, the Baker's Twine Essential Pack. It comes with black and white and ivory, and then some crumb cake and gray granite. But, you know, I have this whole roll of black, which is the same color black. And so I am just going to use this one right now and save the roll in my little bag. So what I'm doing is I'm just going around my fingers, and this is going to be for the tassel. So it just depends on how long you want that tassel to be, and you can have it be as fluffy as you want it to be too. So I'm just going to kind of go around, and then when I have like the thickness that I want, then I am going to stop and use some scissors to cut. So I'm just going to cut to the bottom, and then I'm going to cut another piece. And I'm going to loop it through. Okay, so I'm going to tie off the top of our loops. I'm going to do 2 knots, 1, 2. I practiced this ahead of time to make it, and I was so nervous that I was going to mess it up. Okay, so 2 knots, and then you're going to take and cut to have your tassel. And so you can always trim it if it's too long. Now, one of these is going to be the piece that holds it to the card, and the other one we're going to take and we're going to wrap it around the top of the tassel. And this is going to kind of hold it together and keep it from being separate, but also kind of get that like gathered look at the top of a tassel. So I'm going to kind of just wrap that around. And what I did earlier was to use a little bit of liquid glue. I'm going to cut that down just a smidgy. Use a little bit of liquid glue. And you see kind of what I'm doing. I'm wrapping. So use some liquid glue to wrap and hold the end down. And like you're gonna get sticky, but kind of hold that so it stays down, and then you have the end of your tassel that you can glue to the card. And so I don't know, this one I can't tell if it's too short or if it's just right. Like, I don't want it to hang down too far. So you'll just have to decide when you make your card. I'm not going to hold that all night, but you can trim this then if you wanted it to be nice and even, or if you wanted it to be shorter. And then for the center, first I got out the matte black dots, and I put some glue down on the tassel and let it dry. And then honestly, I felt like the matte dots were not quite big enough, and so I ended up going with a half circle punch. So I busted this out. It's not current anymore, the little half circle punch, but of course I've hung on to it. And so I just did a little half circle, and I let the glue sit on here. And then I covered it, trying to sandwich that in there, and then I covered it with the dot and let it dry. I got really sloppy there. So that's how you do it. And then the tassel can go kind of where you need it on the side. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside to dry. And hopefully, oh my gosh, I moved it and the tassel came right off. I think I'm just going to have to finish this later. It's going to be a sloppy one. Okay. Well, anyway, you get what I'm saying. You can't really rush these things. You have to be patient. I'm going to have to attach it later because I feel like I'm just going to make a mess. Okay, let me skip to the one that's done. Now I'm all sticky. Okay, so here's the one that's done with the tassel, and it's all dry. And I went in with my little adhesive eraser and just sort of like cleaned up whatever extra glue there was around the edges that was messy. So you can always do that. Eva's saying glue dots. Jonelle says, could you use the smallest stitched circle die? Let's just get that out really quick and look for reference. I think I have it. Near me. I didn't have it near me. I had to go across the room. Here's the stylish shapes. And so just for comparison, oh, that's really stuck on there. There we go. So just for comparison, it's a little bit bigger. I would say that the center is probably, well, it's probably a 1-inch circle because the solid line is the cut line. So you could use a bigger one, absolutely. Or a smaller one with the matte dots. All right, so there's my graduation card. Congrats to the graduation. I call this like an explosion card because when you open it, it's like exploding, but maybe there's another name. And like I said, it would be fun to customize this with some, you could either use more designer paper or pictures or school colors or something like that. Now, just for reference here, the designer paper is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 inch. And then this is one of the die cut shapes. So if you were going to do like diagonal pieces of designer paper, I would start with 3 3/4 and cut it diagonally, and then you could mix and match and make it be all patterned up. All right, well, there's our graduation card. I hope if you have some graduates in your life that you're inspired and maybe give this card a try. I think it's fun just to create a little tassel, even if you're doing a small one. Oh, you know what I thought of? This was so fun. Years ago, we used like these empty containers and did like a square of paper. This isn't the right size square. I would make it bigger. But we made like a little graduation cap like that. And then you could stick the tassel for like a little treat box. So you could do this on top of a container like this, or even like a little box. And that would be a fun little graduation gift box. So I hope you like that tassel idea. I think that's really easy to duplicate and really easy to do with what you have at home. So if you don't have the black twine, you can always color your white twine. But the essential pack comes with black and white and crumb cake and vanilla and gray granite. All right. That was the first card. I do love it so much. I'm so glad you guys do too. I did promise the other card, the next card is going to use the lovely linen designer paper. This one is brand new in the annual catalog. It's part of the suite. Let's take a look really quick and open this up. There we go. I even had that page marked. This is page 24 and 25 in the annual catalog. This is a really fun one. And the reason I was drawn to this whole suite is for the lasting label punch. I'm a punch lover. And so of course I had to have the new label punch. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned it, these pages are inside the 2022 to 2023 Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog. So I wanted the label punch, and I decided if I was getting the punch, I might as well get the bundle. And if I'm getting the bundle, I might as well get the whole suite, right? Now make sure you tune in for Sunday Stamping with Susan and Julie. This week, we are going to be showcasing this suite and sharing some more project ideas using the designer paper, the stamp set, the punch. So make sure to tune in so you can see more from this suite. But tonight I just wanted to create a simple card that shows off lots of the designer paper. This is a 12 by 12 designer paper. I've cut it down to 6 by 6 just so that it's a little easier to show you. It has beautiful colors: Sweet Sorbet, Night of Navy, Soft Succulent, Evening Evergreen, Pale Papaya, and I think I hit them all. I think there's a little pink in there too, or a lighter version of Sweet Sorbet. So tonight's card, we're going to use a bunch of different patterns, and we're going to punch out with the lasting label punch. So I'm going to actually get out some of my scraps here, and you can see I've been punching already. So I'm going to just punch out one label from different patterns, and there's so many patterns. You could go different ways here, and I'll actually show you another alternative set of patterns, and you can decide which way you like it best. I always love doing a this or that. So I'm just going through here, and I'm choosing the patterns that have a little bit more of the navy in it, because there's some that are very green and there's some that are navy. And so one more, we're going to do a Pale Papaya pattern. What do you guys think of this suite? What do you think of this designer paper? I feel like it's very polarizing. Like, you either love it or maybe are not a fan. It's very busy, and I feel like a little like curtainy, you know, but I love the colors. These are my colors for sure. Okay, so on this, we got all our pieces. So our card base is Pale Papaya, and I have just a Pale Papaya card base. It's 5.5 by 8.5. And then the card front is 4 inches by 5.25. And I'm using the same color. You could mix it up and do like the Pale Papaya on a darker color, like the Sweet Sorbet or the Night of Navy. I kind of like the color on color. I've been doing that a lot lately. I'm sort of like in this in this mode. And let's kind of figure out, I want to break up these patterns a little bit so that they're not so close to each other. I think I like, oh no, I just made them closer to each other. Let's switch these then, because I gotta break up the navy, and I have to break up the busy pattern. Okay, yes, wallpaper. Definitely, it has that wallpaper feel, Eve. So, okay, I'm going to put adhesive on the back of these now. And I've kind of got them like in the arrangement that I want. So I'm going to try to leave them that way so I can put them down easier. So I'm going to do, I already have an idea of spacing. So when you're first doing this, I would recommend laying it out on to the cardstock so you can kind of see where you want it to go. But I'm starting with the side that's going to have 2, and I'm centering them so that there's space kind of equal. And then I'm going to take the middle one and I'm going to go right next to it, having about the same space on the sides. And I'm just kind of going to center it in between those 2 punches. And then I'm taking the other ones and going top and bottom. And these are going to get cut off. So they're not fully on there, which is why I did a card front, because I wanted there to be like a clean layer where this gets cut off. Now, if I could have been smart, and instead of punching the whole thing, I could have just punched part of it. But this works too. All right, so now I've got my card front. I'm going to add that to the card base. I think I like having the side with 3 on the left, though it doesn't matter. You can do it either way. Okay, now we're going to punch a label. So here's that stamp set, lovely and lasting. And it's really, really fun because it has, what did I get all over this? Is this just glue? I literally, before I started this video, I wiped down my table and I've already made a mess. I love that there is an outline that goes with the lasting label punch. And then there's some different sentiments that fit inside of it. So I've chose the outline and the thank you stamp. So I'm going to stamp in Night of Navy for the outline. I love that the sentiments are really versatile. We've got thinking of you, happy birthday, thank you, oh hello, best, no, not best. Oh yes, best of luck. I lost my train of thought. And cheers. So really, like, this is a great all occasion stamp set because you have so many different words in there that can work for so many occasions. Now, there's also a lot of little accessory stamp sets or stamps. You have like the little scroll and the flowers. And so these would be if you wanted to add like some extra images to the sides or to the top. You can really make that kind of, you know, frame it out that way. But I'm going to stop right there. And we're just going to do the outline and the thank you. And then we're going to punch this. Let's see. Ta-da! I love that. A little bit off center, but that's okay. And, oh, I forgot to grab my ribbon. So let me get that really quick. Uh-oh. Oh, it was right behind me the whole time. I already did get it out. Oh, goodness. So we're going to do a little loop-de-loop. This is the white seam binding, and I really love this ribbon because I feel like it's so versatile. It can go with so many different kinds of paper, different kinds of stamps. And so if you're looking to get some ribbon and you want something versatile, the white seam binding, it's been in the catalog before, so it's not new, but it's just a really good all-around ribbon to have. And then if you wanted to, you could color it and customize it to go with your card. But I like keeping it white. All right, I'm going to add some Stampin' Dimensionals to the tag. I just did some snail adhesive on the back of the tag and then added the ribbon so it would stick. This ribbon is really thin, so just a little bit of that seal adhesive is going to hold it in place just fine. Now, as I'm looking at where I want to put this, I want to have it overlapping several of the labels, and I'm also thinking about that rule of thirds where, you know, you want to have it either like in the top third or the bottom third, but you don't necessarily want it like right in the middle. So here's what it would look like in the middle, and I'm going to move it down here and kind of go across those 3 tags. You see the difference? And maybe it's not so bad in the middle, but I do like it kind of off center, either at the top or at the bottom. I'm going to go down here, kind of overlapping some of those labels. And then let's add some embellishments. So I'm going to use the champagne rhinestones for this card. And I just keep them in a cello bag because I have these like bits and pieces. So that's how I keep them together. I'm going to use 3, and I realize that they kind of blend into the designer paper a little bit, but I think it's just fun to have that little pop of jewel. And I think that the champagne color goes really well with the pale papaya. What about the middle side? Oh, maybe I missed the middle side. I think I missed your question, Alita. Yes, these are, though. I love these rhinestones. I kind of forget about them because there's so many different embellishments in the catalog that these kind of get overlooked. But if you're looking for just kind of a good all-around gem, this is a really good one, the champagne rhinestones. And then here is our finished card. So here is one version that I made. I told you I made another version with some slightly different patterns. And so here's the other one. This one is a little bit more of the green. So let me put them like this. So we have the navy and then the green. So different patterns here. I also chose a different stamp, the best of luck. So this or that, let me know which one you like. Do you prefer the navy patterns or the evening evergreen? So navy or green, this or that. Let's see. Tanya is asking what label it is. This is the new Lasting Label Punch, and it is bundled with the Lovely and Lasting stamp set. Those are fun. So this is the punch bundle. If you get the punch and the stamp set together, it is 10% off. Oh, I made the green one originally, and then when I made it again, I decided to use navy, and I really think I prefer the navy as well. Navy and red is just such a classic combination. Sometimes sometimes the evening evergreen and the red, like sometimes it feels too Christmassy, so I think that's why I do like the navy. And I agree, Alita. I think this would be a good design for men. Maybe you want to leave off the champagne rhinestones. And then maybe, so if I was making this card for a man, I might choose, you know, some more of the green. Maybe I would do like an all green patterns, you know, and then I would change out the pale papaya color and maybe do the light soft succulent. Instead of doing the ribbon like this, I might just add a piece of cardstock like straight across behind the label to accent that and make it a little less feminine. But I definitely think this is going to be a versatile layout, no matter what designer paper you use. No matter what designer paper you use, you can substitute any. I just chose the Lovely Linen because it's the same suite that this punch is in, but you could make this card with any label punch, with any designer paper. So I hope that this card inspires you to try this at home and that you create a lovely card, even if it's not lovely in linen. Okay, it looks like a lot of you are preferring the navy, almost all of you. And like I said, I think I agree too. Well, the navy color is really close to our new Starry Sky. In fact, let me bring in a piece so I can show you. So I have, oops, that's not navy, that's a different color. Okay, so here's Night of Navy and here is Starry Sky. And so if you just looked at one by itself, like you might think, oh, that looks a lot like navy. But once you put them next to each other, you can see it's a lot brighter and sort of deeper and more regal of a color than the navy. So we're using the new Starry Sky on this next card. And this one is going to be using the new Nature's Print and Sunprints designer paper. This paper is all in blues with white images like ferns and dandelions and leaves. This paper is so gorgeous. It is a 12 by 12 paper. I've cut it down to 6 by 6 just to show you, and it's double-sided. We have some beautiful gray granite patterns back here, a little more of the blue. I like the stripes and the dots, very neutral. And so that's what I'm using today, is a little bit of the dots here. And I cut for 2 cards because sometimes it's easier to make 2 cards when you're cutting cardstock in half, right? Like I always start by scoring and then I cut, and I've got enough to make 2 cards. So I cut everything else to be in 2s as well. And I'm just realizing that I forgot to pre-emboss these. So you guys get to watch me do that. I'm going to be using the, do I have it near me? The Fern embossing folder. I was using it this morning, so I think it might be in the cabinets. Let me grab it. Oh my goodness. I'm not sure if I know where it is. Ironically, my room is not that messy right now. I did kind of get things put away, and I don't know where that went though. Okay, well, I brought in something else. We're gonna mix it up and use this one instead. This is part of a new embossing folder pair. Let me grab my catalog so I can tell you the name of it. I can't believe I lost it. Well, I didn't lose it. I just misplaced it for now. I'm going to find it as soon as we're done. It's going to have been like under my nose the whole time. Embossing folders. Back here. Okay, so here's the fern embossing folder that I can't find that goes with this suite. And here's the one that I've got. It's Elegant Eucalyptus. And I don't know, there's probably other ones that would be good, but honestly, most of this is going to get covered up. So let's give this one a try, and maybe you'll decide you really like this embossing folder. I think they're just pretty. I haven't used them yet, actually. These are, they come in a pair, and they're sized to fit in the mini embossing machine. So let's get out little Lucy. And for the embossing folder, we're going to need the base plate. And we're going to want to use, let's see, there are 2 embossing plates that come with the mini machine. The number 3 is for standard embossing folders, and the number 4 is for 3D embossing folders. This one is extra thick. So this is a 3D embossing folder. And the difference between the 4 and the 3 is just the thickness. So we have if your embossing folder is as thick as the 3rd one, then you want to use it with the 4th one. And if your embossing folder is the same thickness as the dark one, then you want to use it with the light one. Does that make sense? Just a little rule of thumb there. And let me show you back in the catalog. The embossing folders in the back, they actually have like a little symbol. The white little mini machine shows you all the ones that fit into the mini embossing machine. So if you're ever not sure, then you can take a look at that. Let's see, B, what are you saying here? It seems like we're getting less and less embossing folders. Yeah, we did have, I feel like we went through a stage where we had a ton of embossing folders. I still think we have a very good variety, and we always have more that come out in the mini catalog. So I'm satisfied with the number of embossing folders. And I think if you're hanging on to your embossing folders, then you certainly have a good collection. Who was it? Somebody was just commenting on a video, or maybe it was a Facebook post about all the embossing folders that they had. It was literally in the hundreds, if I remember correctly. Like, I think I guessed 85 and I was like way off. So and leave a comment and let us know, how big is your embossing folder collection? Are you just getting started, or maybe you have quite a few? All right, I think, you know what, let's try embossing both of them since we're making 2 cards, and we'll see how that looks. So I'm going to do one at a time. I'm going to put it into the embossing folder, and I'm just going to center it and send it through. Oh, it's so cute. I love using the little mini machine. So the mini folders, just to be clear, you can also use the mini folders in a big machine, but you can't use the big folders in the mini machine. So this one will only fit those mini folders, but you can also use these. If you have a big machine, you can still use the little ones on your big machine. Make sure when you're using embossing folders that you put the crease in the fold of the embossing folder. You want to lead with that through the machine. That way all of the pressure has an escape, right? As it's coming through and the air is being squeezed out of the embossing folder, the air has a place to escape. If you start the other way and the pressure is pushing the air and everything into the fold, then you're putting a lot of extra a lot of extra pressure on this fold, and you might have some cracking, and you might break that that crease of your embossing folder. So you always want to lead with the fold. So here are the two embossing folders. Again, this is the eucalyptus, and they're so pretty. I love them both. I keep waffling back and forth between like which one is my favorite. So we're going to use them both on the card tonight. So let me move these out of the way, and I've like got piles next to me now. All right, so on our card, I have the embossed piece. This is basic white. It is 2 3/4 inches by 4 1/4. Then I have the designer paper, which is 5 inches by 1 1/2. A little bit of Starry Sky, which is 2 1/2 by 3 1/2. And then one final piece on this card is I'm going to use, actually 2 pieces. I'm going to use some of this new Lovely Layers Vellum. And the Lovely Layers Vellum has a lot of patterns, but then it also has a bunch of just plain vellum that doesn't have any design. And I love that they are cut at 3 3/4 by 5 inches, which fits perfectly on a card front. So I'm going to get 2 of those out and slide these right back into my package. This little package, I think it's $6 in the US, so really affordable. And it comes with 60 different sheets to use for your cards. I've used quite a few already, actually. So this is probably less than half a package. Okay. So we're going to start with some layering. Now, the adhesive that I'm using, the Stampin' Seal, it does show through the vellum. So I'm only going to use some adhesive in the middle, and then I'm going to end up covering most of that up. So you won't see those as adhesive marks, but I'm not going to put adhesive around the edges. Oh yeah, I see that. Alita says she thinks that this one kind of looks Christmassy, like a little poinsettia-ish. I totally see that as like a spray. And I think it has a lot of possibilities. Like you could have then maybe a die cut flower or something in the center and have that sort of be like the foliage. Really pretty. Now, originally when I made this card, I made it to be a horizontal card. I'm just going to kind of show you the layout. But now that we have these other designs, like I feel like this one is sort of begging to be a vertical card maybe. And so I don't know, I'll have to play around. I guess that's the joy of doing 2 is you can make them different. But see, it gets covered up a lot, so we could still go like that. Well, our next step is going to be to do some embossing. So let's set our layers aside just for a second. We're going to bring out the stamp set, Nature's Print. This is the one that goes with the sun prints and the designer paper that we're using. And we're going to do some heat embossing with this lovely image. I believe this is like a ginkgo branch, isn't it? A little ginkgo leaf. So we're going to do some embossing. Have you guys done embossing before? Are you guys all pros with heat embossing? We need a Versamark pad, which is a watermark ink pad. It just stays wet a little bit longer, which makes it easier for the embossing powder. Speaking of embossing powder, I'm using white. Our embossing powders, God, I can't talk. Embossing powders come in packages now where there's like basics embossing powder with clear white and black, and then a metallics embossing powders that comes with gold and silver and brass, maybe copper. And so I'm using some old embossing powder. So this is the same color, it's white, but I'm still using an older jar. So we're going to stamp, and actually, before we do that, it's always good to use an embossing buddy, which we don't have anymore, but it's easy to find, and it helps to get all of the like little oil from your fingers and extra like smudgy ink and stuff from sticking to the embossing powder. So we're going to stamp with the watermark, with the Versamark ink. And I'm kind of going at an angle so that it all fits on here. And I'm just going to do them both at once, and then we'll get the embossing powder out. So the Versamark does stay wet, you know, pretty long. If you're making a whole bunch of things though, you probably want to stamp some and then put the embossing powder on and then stamp some more. So embossing powder, I like to catch mine in a little coffee filter. You could also use just like a scrap piece of paper or something. The idea is something to catch the powder so that we can filter it back into the jar and reuse it. So you're going to put that embossing powder on and then just tap all the extras off. If you have like, you know, earlier I was using, trying to reach and grab. I don't have a paintbrush, but I was trying to get like a little piece like this, and I was using just a little needle to kind of try to brush that away. So if you don't brush all those little pieces, all those little dots, they will like emboss, and then you'll be able to see them. So you want to try to wipe those away, and then we're going to use the heat tool, but let's get this done first. It's like magic, right? Like the way it just sticks to the ink. It's so cool. If you've not done embossing before, it is just like magic. And I highly recommend doing like a metallic embossing because it has more of an effect on, you know, like more of a wow. You can see it change a lot more from like a really dull powder to a shiny finished look. Okay, so I just funneled that right into my jar. I'll pull that aside. Next step, we're going to use the heat tool. This is the heat tool from Stampin' Up. It has 2 settings, 1, 2, so kind of like a low and a high. I always use the high setting, and you're just going to heat up that powder. It's harder to tell with the white when it's done, but you can kind of, if you're watching closely, you can kind of see it change and get darker. Do you see that at the bottom there? You can, it looks dirty, and then as it heats, you can kind of see it turning brighter white. Be careful not to burn your fingers. Some people use like a little clothespin or, you know, tweezers or tongs to hold the cardstock so you don't burn your fingers. So as soon as everything turns, then you're good to go. You want to make sure you get the whole image. Here you can see, here's the difference, right? This is the one that's embossed, and this is the one that's not embossed. You can see how it looks, you know, sort of dirty and very powdery still. Oh, it's like magic! It's so much fun. Like I said, it's a little more satisfying to see the change with the metallic powders because it does look very dull, and then it's like shiny once you heat it. Oh my gosh. Okay, listen, if you haven't embossed before, I'll have the link to all the products that I used in the video when I'm all done. I'll add that. And so I will put the links to the Versamark pad and the embossing powder and the heat tool. Those are like the big 3 that you need. Heat tool, embossing powder, and then the Versamark. And so again, the difference with the Versamark ink is that it stays wet longer, allowing you to apply the powder and have the powder stick to the ink. Our classic ink is a dye ink, and it dries really quickly. And so you may be able to, if you do the powder really quickly, you might be able to get it to stick. But this is it's like just a different formula, and it's also a little bit stickier of an ink. Okay, so there's our embossed images. And, oh, thank you. Thank you for answering, B. Stampin' Up! Does not sell reverse tweezers, which is just a tool. Instead of squeezing, it stays closed and you would push it to open it. I do have a pair somewhere in my stash. It's probably buried in my embossing box. Those are so handy, especially for something like this. But if you have like a clothespin or something like that, that works really, really well as well, because you can hold it and it's closed by default is what I'm trying to say. Not very well though. Okay, let's do some layering here. I guess before we do that, let's do some more stamping. So for the sentiment, I picked out this one. It says best wishes and happy thoughts. And I love this sentiment because I feel like it could be for so many different occasions. I've said it before, and you probably are tired of hearing me say it, but if you only had 2 sentiments in your stamp stash, thinking of you and best wishes covers every possible occasion. And so that's why I love this stamp so much, because you could send this card for a graduation, a retirement, a birthday, a wedding, like best wishes for everything, new job, a new house, anything that you would be wishing somebody well, best wishes works perfectly for. Okay, we have 2 sets of cards, so let's just dig in and we'll start, and maybe we'll make them each different, and you can decide which one you like. Okay, this is the one where the eucalyptus seems like it's vertical, so I kind of want to, oh gosh, we could really mix it up and do, then we're like totally covering that up, aren't we? Oh, I have a couple other samples to show you. So this is interesting to like, to really mix it up. I'm going to do that. We're just going to start putting things down. That's kind of a fun way to explore with card design, is to like cut different layers and then just play around, mix and match, and see what you like, because you might discover that the plan that you had, you like something else even more. And so when you just start playing around and sticking things down and, you know, just like kind of happy-go-lucky, here we go. Oh God, how is this the first time we did that tonight? I just lifted that up because I want to have it be a little more centered there. Okay, there it is. Every time, if you're a first-time watcher, every time I always got to tear something apart. So there we go. That might be the only time tonight. I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner, but I guess that's what happens when you have things prepared. All right, we're going to do this with some Stampin' Dimensionals. And, oops, not this one. I wanted to put the Stampin' Dimensionals over here. B, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm so glad that you were able to watch with us tonight. And Tony, you are right. It is not a Julie card unless we pulled something up. Okay, so I'm going to kind of do this on, ooh, you know what? Upside down. Yes, I like this. Okay, so this is going to go over here. I've got it sort of centered with a little space on the side. And then on the best wishes, half of it's going to be on the blue and half of it is going to be off on the white. Like that. Oh, I love that. You know, I didn't add embellishments on any of my other cards that I made previously, but I really feel like this is needing a little bit of sparkle. So let's see what we've got. This is my regular rhinestone stash, and I'm just feeling like we could use a little bling bling. Just have this like empty space that needs it. Oh, I always struggle with the third one. Boop, there it is. Okay, so there's one version of the card. Let's put down this one next. And maybe this one will be more of the traditional way that I intended for it to be. Although it is so much fun to play around. Yeah, I'm kind of liking that. Okay, so this is going to go across the bottom. Hi, Maxine. I'm so glad you're joining us. We're almost done, actually. This is the third card that we're making tonight. So we're going to finish this one up, and then I'll review. And if you're just joining, you might want to watch the replay and see what you've missed, because we made some fun cards tonight. Okay, I'm seeing this white cardstock seems to be like a little bit longer, or shorter rather, than my card. So I'm going to take some scissors. Oops, something just fell. And just give it a little trim. If you're not confident in your large scissor skill, then you could use your paper trimmer. It's not perfect, but it'll do. All right, I'm going to add with some Stampin' Dimensionals. Again, although now I'm wondering, if I should make this be, before I put that down. Oh, do we like it? Do you like it horizontal or do you like it vertical? Okay, guys, quick vote, okay? Quick little poll. Let me move this one out of the way. Do you like this card like this, or do you like this piece to be the other direction and more horizontal? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of horizontal, and this is driving me crazy. And so I'm going to our second tear up of the night. Okay, I think I did good. We're gonna just move this over to the other side because I want to change that. Then I can have this be a little off of the side. Okay, I have some with I have a card that's finished where I put this that way, and so I will show you that way. We're going to go horizontal because that's what it looks like a lot of you are saying. So let's just put this down. Is that crooked bothering you? Oh, I do that a lot. I know some of you cannot stand the crooked, but ooh, I just like it. Okay, so we're gonna do overlap just a little bit like that. What do you think? Do we need a little bling in this one too? Let's see what we've got. Oh, I saw a lot of wows, and I'm not sure if that's good or bad. Is it a good wow or a bad wow? I guess you'll let me know. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Oh, I struggle so much sometimes with these rhinestones. Like I can never get it just right. I think on this one I'm gonna go with like 5. I don't know, maybe that's too much, but yeah, I know the embossing folder did get kind of hidden. You can still see it at the top and the bottom. Okay, so tonight we made 2 different versions of this card. Oh, the stem should be pointing down. Linda, are you, well, I guess both of them. You're referring to both of them. Well, we can tear it up. So in the art of tearing up is all about like gentle pressure and sort of like a gentle twist. Da, da, da. Okay. Okay, now you guys were saying stem down like this. Well, then I guess our whole thing should have been reversed. Ba, 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 da. A complete teardown? What? Sure, we can do that. Pressure. The right kind of pressure. That's how we tear it up. Okay, for some things you can have creative license, and for some things you guys just don't want to do anything other than the right way. So let's add some more Stampin' Dimensionals. And let's put this card back together. the right way. We're going to put this back where it was the first time when we tore it off and apparently shouldn't have. And then, oh, Laura says her paper always tears when she tries to bring it up. And like I said, it's really all about the right kind of pressure. Okay, I am going to go diagonal though. So if you don't like it, close your eyes. I don't know, like, it seems too boxy. Okay, I'm going diagonal, and then we need to have our dimensional on the other end and some adhesive over here. That's a good tip, Bean. Use your heat tool to loosen the adhesive when you're tearing apart your card. All right, we have some remnant from our rhinestones. So let's add another one or two back in. I want to bring a smaller one in. Oh, get back here. Okay, guys, is that better? Was it worth the complete tear apart? Oh, you guys do like the diagonal. Awesome. Okay, so this or that. Which of these two do you prefer? And then I'm going to bring in some more options because I did make a few other card layouts. So maybe I should number them. Okay, so this is number 1, number 2, and then we're going to do number 3. Oh, you can't see them. Hold on. 1, 2. This is, see, these are, okay. Oh, okay, maybe diagonally. I'm trying to fit them all in the camera. Let's go up a little. Okay, so we've got them numbered, and I'm going to switch here. Okay, so 1, 2, those are the ones we did tonight. 3, 4. Okay, so I just kind of moved the paper differently. On this one, I have the designer paper above the white. And actually, I like that. I like the paper kind of coming above. Should we tear that apart and change it? I'm just kidding. Though I probably will do it off camera. But I do like the paper above. I'm on both of these, I have the paper, designer paper above the embossing, and on both of these, I have the designer paper below the embossing. So these are the same exact size pieces, the same exact stamped pieces. I have just done 4 different layouts. So it's so much fun to do that and play around with your pieces. You can get so many different looks from the same pieces of cardstock. Let me go up a little more, get those better in frame. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of different answers. This is really interesting. Sean says 3. Tanya says 2. Brenda says 1 and 4. Judy likes 3. Deanna likes 3. Sharon says 2. Tracy says 4. Cindy says 3. Judy says 4. Susan says 2. Laura says 1. Jennifer says 1. Debbie says 4. You guys are really split on this. B says all of them. I think so too. Marilyn and Bab say 2. Kay says that, which is probably number 2. Janice is 2. Judy is 2. That maybe that's, I'm getting into the answers when there were only 2. So Sharon says, joining in late, is that vellum on there too? It is. So each of these cards has just a very light vellum layer. I just love the way that adds just a little bit to the card. This one is kind of peeling up, so let's see if I can add a little. Adhesive to stick that down. Okay, also this one had the fern embossing folder, and this one has the eucalyptus embossing folders. So that's a difference too. Different sizes. This one has the rhinestones, these don't. Now I kind of feel like I want to go back and add some rhinestones. Oh my goodness. Well, let me do a quick little review of the cards that we made tonight. And then I have a few cards to share with you that I received from other people, a little mail call. I almost forgot. So we made these 2 cards at the end using the sun prints. We also did a lovely linen card and the new lasting label punch, and did this one. I really like the way that that card turned out. And then we opened with a graduation card, a little explosion card with the little tassel. I love that. And then you open it up and it says, "Congrats to the graduate." That one was so much fun. So those were the cards that we made. I hope that you were inspired. I always ask this and I love to hear your answers. Leave a comment and let me know which of these cards that you like the most, or which of these cards are you going to copy? Which of them have inspired you? Which are you most likely to make at home? I always love to see your answers because it helps me to know what kind of things you want to see more of. Now, I've got to find those cards I was going to show you. I think they got buried over here. Oh, also, I have to bring this in really quick and show you. Do you guys follow my YouTube channel? Hopefully you subscribe over there. Yesterday, I posted a Project Playback video, and it's the Peekaboo flip card. Oh my gosh, isn't this so much fun? This is using the butterfly kisses. And if you want to know how to make this card, be sure to check out yesterday's Project Playback. It's episode number 36. I'll share the link in the video description so you guys can check this out. So much fun. Okay, that was that. Let me bring in our mail call. Oh my gosh, I got some really beautiful cards in the last 2 weeks, and so I want to give them a special shout out. This one is from Jill Pace, a beautiful Mother's Day card using the hand-penned floral stamp set. This is a 2-step stamp set where you have a second stamp to fill in the flowers and the leaves, and I just love those little butterflies as well. Jill, thank you so much for this gorgeous card. It made my day to receive it. Here's a card from my upline, Kim Peck. She designed this card for a mystery stamping project that we did. That's one of the fun things we do with my team. We get together on Zoom once a month and have a mystery stamping and also a show and tell. It's just a great way for us to connect in a creative way, to stamp together and to share projects that we've been making. And so this was one of the projects that Kim designed and led us through during that mystery stamping event. So if you're a Jubilant Stamper, I hope you'll join us on the first Wednesday of the month for mystery stamping in our Stamp and Share Zoom. Kim, thank you for this beautiful card. This one uses a new stamp set from the January through June mini catalog with the birds. I just thought that was so pretty. Judy Howard, your card came today. I love this. Judy sent me a picture of her inspiration. It was a party napkin, and she used some older fruit stamp sets and circles and this big fern from the Artfully Layered stamp set, and these bright colors. They make me so happy. Looks like Groovy Guava and Daffodil Delay, little Blueberry Bushel maybe, Real Red or Poppy Parade, and Emerald Envy, if I had to guess. Little cute note cards. Judy made up sets of these to give away for prizes for her card club, and I just thought they were so cute. So Judy, thank you for thinking of me and sending me one of your cute little cards. Speaking of some duplicates, I got 2 extra cards from the Great Big Card Swap. Karen Fletcher sent this one using the Sunshine and Rainbow designer paper. Sun plus rain is a rainbow. I just thought that was so cute. Thank you, Karen, for sending an extra card for me. And Joe Williams sent this one using the new Sun Prints and Nature's Prints bundle. I just love this paper. I love this bundle. It is just so gorgeous together. Joe, thank you so much for sending this. Our theme for the Great Big Card Swap in May is masculine, and so I think that the colors in this Sun Prints paper and the theme of the prints in the stamp set are just perfect for masculine cards. What do you think? You can send in your Great Big Card Swaps. Our next video showcase is going to be Tuesday, May 31st, so you still have a little bit of time, about a week and a half, to get your cards in if you want to be in that video showcase, and that is masculine cards. I wish I had my little, I do. Here's the address. If you're not familiar with the Great Big Card Swap, you can send your cards to Julie Davison, P.O. Box 6164, Champaign, Illinois 61826. And the way the Great Big Card Swap works is you send in a card, and you include a postage stamp, and then I show them all in a video and I mix them up and mail them back. Judy O'Hara, if you're watching, I can't find your address. I have a card to send you. So send me a message, somehow get a hold of me, leave me a comment so I can get in touch with you and mail you your card. You guys, our hour is up. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope that you enjoyed those projects that I shared and that you are inspired to give them a try at home. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching Thursday Night Stamp Therapy, and I'll see you very soon with another paper crafting video. Make sure to like and follow me on Facebook and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss out on future videos. Have a great night.